Got my notes, check. Pepsi, check. Sunglasses, check. Hat, check. Thick skin, check. And sources, check. Let's go. Welcome to Golden Blue Dude, everybody. This is where we cover all of college football. So if you're a college football fan, go ahead and hit the like and subscribe button. I call my Patreons the shot callers, and I can't wait to live stream some games and watch it with my Patreons and the score prediction contest. That's going to be fun. Hey, we're here at beautiful Milan Puskar Stadium. As you can see, it's red and silver. Cut. I've already done this when I showed up at Clemson one time. I don't know how that happened, and now it happened. Now I'm somehow in Sanford Stadium. Happened again. Golden Blue Dude finally at Sanford Stadium. What is a West Virginia fan doing at the football stadium for Georgia? What am I doing here? Well, we all know that Georgia won the national championship last year, but Golden Blue Dude is getting a lot of heat this year. And it's because of that South Carolina game. It really concerns me. Here's the problem. In the offseason, Georgia lost 3/4 of that historic defense. 3/4. That's a lot. Now, Georgia reloads. So I think they're going to have a good season. But unlike last year, I think they're going to have more 50-50 football games. Last year, if you look at the regular season, really none of those games were losable for Georgia. Maybe the first game against Clemson because it was close. But if you watch from start to finish, that game against Clemson, it was Georgia. It was Georgia. It didn't matter that they only scored 10 points. Clemson was not getting more than a field goal. This year, I think it's a different story. I think Georgia's going to be in a lot more closer games. They're going to be a lot more 50-50 football games, which means their chances of losing a game here and there is a little bit higher. Now, that doesn't mean that I think they're going to be bad. No, they're at least going to have a 10-win season. Easy. I think they're going to win the SEC East pretty easy, but they are going to be tested this year. Last year, they were not tested until the SEC Championship. Even that Clemson game, I don't consider a test. That was a historic defense. They were shutting everybody out. Everybody out. I mean, the games were laughable. And it didn't matter if it was at Sanford Stadium or on the road. All the games became laugh fest. The most points that any team scored against Georgia in the regular season was Tennessee, 17 points. That was the most. There was no pressure on Stetson Bennett. And a lot of Georgia fans were actually mad at Kirby Smart because whenever JT Daniels finally healed, hey, are you starting to put it together, 2-2? West Virginia fan, JT Daniels, Georgia, are you starting to figure it out here? Yes, I am connecting the dots here. But last year, with JT Daniels fully healed from his injury and Kirby Smart stuck with Stetson Bennett, Georgia fans were not happy about it. Here's the thing, though. It didn't matter. It didn't matter that Kirby didn't put in the best quarterback. That did not matter because the defense was a shutdown, lockdown defense. This year it's going to matter because you're going to have a lot more young talent on this Georgia defense. It's still going to be talent. It's going to be 5-star talent. And I expect Georgia to win another national championship within the next 3 years. I expect that to happen. But this year there's going to be a bit of a learning curve. Just a little bit. But I still think they're going to be fine. 10-win season in the books. SEC East Division title in the books. Maybe South Carolina, maybe Tennessee, maybe Kentucky can scare them just a little bit. Just enough to make them sweat. Hey, maybe we're not going to win. But overall, I think Georgia will win the SEC East. It's that game on the road to South Carolina that really concerns me. I don't think that's going to be a very good matchup for Georgia. It's early in the season. South Carolina top 10 in the transfer portal. Georgia losing 3/4 of their defense. I have Georgia on upset alert in Columbia. And I've been called every name in the freaking book for it. Crazy, insane, lunatic. The list goes on and on and on. The same people said the same thing last year when I predicted Stanford to beat number 14 USC. There was a reason why I predicted that upset. It was because it was a bad matchup for USC and I thought USC was a bit overrated. People literally said, hey, if you take this guy Golden Blue Dude's advice, you're addicted. They used the word addicted to losing money. The complete opposite. If you would have taken that bet and took Stanford on the money line, you'd have made a lot of money. I can't remember like exactly how much of an underdog Stanford was, but it was significant. It would have been a big payoff. So I'm just saying, it concerns me because of what Georgia lost in the offseason and what South Carolina gained in the offseason. So yes, I do have them on upset alert for that. Now, the other question is Tennessee. How much better is Tennessee going to be this year? They have higher than normal expectations this year. What about Kentucky? They came from going 5-6 the year before to second in the SEC East. And yours truly predicted it. Again, I was called nuts last year for doing that. They just went 5-6. How in the world are you going to predict Kentucky to finish second in the SEC East? It's simple. You look at what other teams lose and what your team gains. And Kentucky was a veteran team last year, and I think that their schedule set up nicely. So that's why I predicted that, and it came true. So this is not me trying to make Georgia fans mad. This is not me trying to ruffle feathers or get views or anything like this. This is a warning. I looked into this stuff. A couple years ago, the matchup between Oregon and Oregon State. Oregon State was a massive underdog, and I confidently picked Oregon State. Why? Because they had a great running game, and Oregon had a terrible run defense. What happened? The Beavers upset the Ducks. That brings me to the Oregon versus Georgia game. I actually don't think Georgia's going to have any trouble, and that's going to keep the expectations high in Athens. But I'm telling you, look out for the Gamecocks, because they're going to have a lot of talent, much more than what they did last year. It's on the road, it's early in the season, and South Carolina likes to play, I'm not going to say dirty, but they like to slow the game down and make you tough it out. The last time, here's the thing, guys, the last time that I predicted South Carolina to upset Georgia was 2019, right here at Sanford Stadium. Does anybody remember what happened back then? Anybody? Hands raised? I'll tell you what happened. South Carolina slowed the game down, made Georgia commit a ton of turnovers. And honestly, South Carolina shouldn't have won that game, but they did what I thought they would do, and they upset Georgia. All I'm saying is I'm seeing the same stuff this year. What Georgia lost, what South Carolina gained, South Carolina is more than capable of upsetting Georgia. Now, in the next 3 years, I want to reiterate this. Kirby Smart just signed a massive contract extension. That is a championship contract extension. That's what that is, and that's what he'll do. In the next 3 years, Georgia will have a national championship. I'm actually trying to do Georgia fans a favor. Like, just enjoy your national championship from last year, right? Enjoy it. You earned it. I called that as well. So I know I have a lot of Georgia haters right now, but last year, what did I predict? I predicted them to get national championship and beat Alabama. Not only did I predict them to beat Alabama, but I predicted them to beat them by double digits, and I predicted that Alabama would not get 20 points. Those things exactly happened the way that I said that they would happen. So I'm just giving a fair warning. Relax for this year, enjoy your national championship, and then you'll build towards another one in the next 3 years. Because whenever you win a national championship like that and you get your expectations up like this, and you're not Alabama yet. Not yet. You could be in a few years, but you're not there yet. Alabama's the type of team where it doesn't matter. They're good every year. A down year for Alabama was last year. They still got to the playoffs. They still got to the national championship. Georgia's not quite there yet. But I think in the future with Kirby Smart, especially signing that national championship extension, they can get there. But you're not there yet. And the biggest knock on Kirby Smart is choosing the right quarterback. I mean, my gosh, and I talked about it earlier that last year it didn't matter. It didn't matter last year because the defense was historic. It just wasn't good. It was historic. You handpicked the SEC championship out of their points average as far as what they allowed, and Georgia allowed their opponents to average 6 to 7 points per game. But even with that 41 to whatever blowout Alabama had over Georgia, they only allowed around 10 points per game. That's how historic that defense was. And it's not going to be like that this year. So there's going to be a lot more 50-50 football games. And it's going to come down to quarterback play. And I'm going to say this, I've said it 1,000 times. Stetson Bennett is good enough to not lose, but he's not good enough to win a game for you. If you get into those 50-50 football games, high pressure, especially on the road, he's not. He's not. And all the Georgia fans that have thrown hate towards me, you're the same Georgia fans that last year you got mad that Kirby Smart did not put in JT Daniels after he got healed up. Why? Because you knew that JT Daniels was the better quarterback. So as a West Virginia fan, to you Georgia fans, because I know you're watching, we want to say thank you. We appreciate that, because if you hadn't have done that, West Virginia wouldn't have JT Daniels. And under Kirby Smart, there's actually a new motto here at Georgia football. And that is, this is where 5-star quarterbacks come to transfer out. Let the smack talking begin, because I know you're about ready to throw some tomatoes at me. But I got to get out of here and head on home. That's all I got for you for this show. Like and subscribe if you haven't already. And I'll see you on my next show.